A routine breakfast stop at Bengaluru's Kempegowda International Airport has now turned into a high-stakes legal showdown involving one of the city's most popular eateries, the Rameshwaram Café. The owners and a senior representative of the cafe are now facing serious charges from selling noxious food to criminal conspiracy after a customer named Nikhil N claimed he found a worm in his meal. And as a response, the cafe falsely accused him of extortion. Let's see how this case unfolded. The FIR against the cafe centers around a complaint by Nikhil N, who says that the incident took place on July 24th at the Terminal 1 of the Bengaluru airport. He had ordered Ven Pongal, a filter coffee, but says he spotted a super worm in the food. He alerted the staff who offered a replacement. Nikhil declined as he was rushing to board his flight to Guwahati. Other customers took photos, but he says he did not create a scene and left quietly. The next day, however, he was shocked to see news reports claiming he had been booked for threatening the Rameshwaram brand and demanding 25 lakh rupees. This counter-complaint was filed by Sumant Bal, a representative of the cafe. Police questioned Nikhil and his friends who were present with Nikhil at the time of the incident but found no evidence of blackmail. In fact, Nikhil pointed out that his flight records showed he was mid-air at the very time the cafe claimed he was issuing threats, making the allegations, quote, factually impossible. Feeling targeted, Nikhil has now filed his own complaint, calling the original case a deliberate attempt to defame and harass him instead of accepting responsibility for what he says was a serious food safety violation. He also suspects that the worm placed in the food was a part of a larger controversy and could be a planned murder where the cafe's owner joined hands with his unknown enemies. Now, the owner of the cafe, Raghavendra Rao, and Divya Raghavendra Rao are absconding. Joining us at this point in time is Dr. Swati Jindal Garg, AOR Supreme Court. We're also being joined by Ms. Brinda Adige, social activist, as well as Mr. Shekhar Vijayan, political commentator. Let me start off this conversation with Ms. Brinda Adige. Ma'am, what's happened over here? The pot is calling the kettle black. Imagine you go to eat food at the airport right before you have to catch a flight, you find a worm in it, you don't create a scene, you've left, and then there are these reports coming your way, complaints being filed that you were the person who was blackmailing the cafe, who had a malicious intent, wanted to in fact ruin the reputation of the cafe. How would you feel?
Outraged, because the customer said that he found a worm, he showed it to those people, and the customer says that he left. Of course, somebody would have tried to justify, somebody would have tried to say, no, it is not that, something else. But all of those aside, he has left. Now, these people have filed a complaint on him of blackmail, asking for ransom, whatever. This is attacking the person so that when he comes back, he doesn't register a case. Now, there are two things to it. One is you are in the airport and food at the airport is exorbitantly priced. For that price, you are expecting clean, fresh food. If you get something like this in that food, obviously you must complain. But like you said, if you're going to catch a flight, you don't have time to sit and make those complaints. But certainly you will come back to make that complaint. I hope he might have come back. But filing a case on the customer and making these kind of bizarre complaints that, he's asking for 25 lakhs and all of this just goes to show that probably these people were very scared because there were also other customers. It is a reputation that might go whatever. What are the people in the airport doing? Isn't there some kind of an inspection? Isn't there some kind of a person who inspects what kind of food is being sold at the airports? Is it a daily inspection? Who monitors all of these? So we must also find out from the airport authorities what is their role in ensuring that healthy, clean food without worms or anything is being served? Because of their negligence, there is also the people who sell the food who get away with it. They know that nobody is going to come and inspect it. You're always in such a hurry eating at the airport to eat and rush to the thing. You may not necessarily look at what you're eating. There may be very few people. For all you know, all of us might have eaten something like this in one of those places and never really bothered, because we will not be able to find out. But it is so wrong that the police have registered a case without listening also to the customer, to the other party. How could the police do something like this? On what basis did the police do it? That just on hearsay, that this person came, demanded, and now I will file FIR on you. What is wrong with our police? What is wrong with our agencies that are supposed to apply their mind before they make these kind of A, statements, and B, FIRs? Something is wrong, because nobody is being held accountable anywhere.
Absolutely. Mr. Shekhar Vijayan, I'd like to rope you in here because like Mr. Dige just pointed out, with regards to the complaint that was filed, it was filed based on statements. There was no homework that was done necessarily. And this incident happened on 24th July, which means that for the past 4 months, this person, or the customer rather, has been heckled, he's been questioned left, right and center. What do you essentially then make of this, this unfortunate incident that has taken place at the Kempegowda International Airport and the fact that this person has been heckled left, right and center?
Thank you for having me over. I completely agree with what Brinda ma'am said. I think what I also understand here is this particular cafe you're mentioning is one of the most popular cafes in Bangalore. Everybody who touches down to Bangalore wants to go have a taste and a flavor of it. Notwithstanding that, we are talking about Bangalore, we're talking about an airport where, it's not just a worm in a plate. It's a warning signal for India's food safety system, right? We've got thousands and thousands of people coming to this airport. This airport, Bangalore airport, is one of the most popular airports, one of the most beautiful airports, one of the most scenic airports in India and across the world. Now, if food safety is not optional, right? Especially at an airport that represents India to the world. So, I think there are two things which have happened here. Either a hygienic failure has happened or an extortion attempt has happened. And both are serious crimes. When you're talking about hygienic failure, I think it goes without saying that food inspection should be of the highest standards. And we're not seeing that happening at all in the Bangalore airport. Now, this is a wake-up call for everybody, not just Bangalore airport. I think it's important that measures have to be put in place in terms of how does such a thing happen so easily, right? The second thing is facts must decide this case, not viral videos. When consumers, don't trust food and businesses can't trust consumers, everyone loses. I feel, the entire objective of this activity is of what's happened and the way it's turned out. Everything has been done in such a orchestrated manner in terms of bringing the money in because, to show that there's such a popular brand and you get in the money factor. So then the conversation turns towards another direction. And this incident also pushes for surprise inspections and strict food audits at public places. I think that's the whole objective of this. This has happened. And if it's happened, how has it happened in such a place, in an airport where everybody's rushing against time? In an airport, I have somebody who's just, enjoying the meal. Everybody's racing against time to catch the flight. And it can happen to anyone. If this has happened to this person who was traveling to Guwahati or any other part of India, I think it goes without saying there is much more to it. There's much more. It's not just about one verb. I think it also reflects the fact that the food safety standards were not at par. And for an airport which is at world standards, I think this is something which we really need to look at, because we get international tourism, and in the coming few days, in the coming few months, everything is just going to go up in terms of people traveling inside India, outside India. An airport is a reflection of the state. An airport is a reflection of the country. If your food is not in place, if your food is not being inspected, if there are no standards in place, then I think we're just going downhill from here. I think what's important is we need to have an unbiased treatment of this,
right.
and facts should emerge out of this more than just viral videos and people counter claiming each other.
Absolutely. Dr. Swati Jindal Garg, I'd like to rope you in over here and like to understand from you, what is the course of legal action that the customer can take in this case?
See, as far as I know, from what is on record already, I think the customer has went ahead and filed an FIR, a cross FIR, if I am not wrong.
Yeah.
And he's also saying that he's going to take legal action. You see, there is definitely the case of criminal conspiracy. He can levy charges of criminal conspiracy against himself. He can levy charges of defamation, because imagine a case where you have been wronged. You did not file a complaint because, for whatever reasons, there was lack of time, you were in a hurry. Maybe most of the people, they don't even want to get into the problem that follows the filing of any complaint in India, especially. So he wanted to avoid all that. He went away, did not file a complaint, which I guess he should have. So now, on top of that, to add insult to injury, he is being roped in that he is indulging in extortion. As of now, see, we don't know whether that allegation is true or not, because if he has done that, then he has another battle to fight today. On the other hand, if he has indeed been wronged, then he is well within his right to file a case for defamation against the entire chain, and the amount of compensation that he will rightfully get, if he does in the future, it boggles the mind. Considering the name of the chain, it's quite a famous one. Secondly, in fact, even if you're not a big chain and only a small one, even if you're a roadside vendor, the food safety regulation standards in India, on paper they are there. So there is a law that requires you to sell food that should not be harmful. And if there are maggots crawling in your food, of course you're answerable, and your entire compliances and your certifications can be stopped based on that point alone. So yes, he has a lot of criminal protection that will come his way if he decides to go and take the legal action.
Right, absolutely. Brindaji, I'd like to rope you in over here and understand from you. I've just pulled out some data. Rameshwaram Café has 6 outlets. There are roughly 5,000 to 8,000 customers that come for services for food. In your assessment, should all the Rameshwaram Café outlets be shut until checks are done?
No, I think that is too far-fetched. It's not fair. It's not fair to the institution also. We know that most of the outlets which are out in the city itself cook fresh food. It is the airports. And for all you know, it may not be just the Rameshwaram Café in the airport. It could be also the others. We know that there's food sitting in those cold showcase boxes for many days together. If you look at the food, you know, and they warm it up and heat it up and give it to you. And it is not fair that we say that all of them must be shut down, because there might be so many other hotels also. We've heard so many cases from other places. But what is important is to hold accountable the food inspectors. Let them go and check all the hotels and also check the Rameshwaram hotels. But if they can step up what is happening in the airports, because we might look at an airport and say, yes, this is looking very nice and everything is, top class international standards, but actually the food counters, the food stalls, the food courts inside the airports require double checks, because nobody over there puts it that it was baked 2 days ago or 3 days ago. Anytime you ask them, they will say it's fresh food and it's in the fridge. They warm it up and give it to you. So where is that inspector? Is there one in the airports? Not only for Rameshwaram Café, but for everybody else. Because this is only one that has come up to us just now. And I don't think it is fair that you go and shut down all the Rameshwaram Café and say, this is what I want to do, so that I'll get back at you. It's the job to say, one of them has come up and reported. Let's look at all the other food counters in the airport. A. B, of course, Rameshwaram Café will have to be told that, you're being issued a warning that you need to have somebody who's looking and checking how food is prepared in your hotel, in all your other hotels. And again, it comes back to monitoring. Who are these inspectors? They are all government inspectors. You don't have any outside third-party outsourced inspectors checking. So what are these government food inspectors doing? That is my question, because at the end of the day, we come and stand there. That is the person or that is the institution that must be pulled up. The cafe has its own responsibility towards its customers. And they must come out clean, apologize, and say that this is something that would never happen again. We've seen it across the world. These things happen.
Okay.
But hold the government accountable also.
All right. I request my guest to stay on with us. We in fact have some breaking news coming in. Newsx has exclusively spoken to Nikhil's advocate, Owais Hussain, on the case development so far. He has spoken about under what BNS sections the owners have been booked. He's also added that the case was filed 4 months ago and now they have written to the DSP following the detailed letter. DSP has asked police to take immediate action.
Accused is Mr. Raghavendra and Divya and Sumant. These three people as accused in this FIR. And mainly one section is cognizable section is there under BNS 123, which is punishable for 10 years imprisonment. It's a non-bailable offence. So remaining and all like defamation, other giving false adulteration food and defamation, everything has been, yes, everything is included. So based on this, we have given the FIR long back. It was 4 months ago only. Everything we have a proof, okay. But the police, concerned police, the airport station, they have not entertained it. Just they have given one NC copy to us. Based on that NC copy, I have filed a PCR also in the Devanelli court. But still that is going on because based on the BNS section, we have to serve the notice to opposite party. So it's going on. So meanwhile, we have approached the DCP. So DCP has, we have stated everything, each and everything, what all happened, okay. So DCP has directed the concerned police department immediately take action to against this Rameshwaram owner.
All right, so we've heard that over there. Mr. Shekhar Vijayan, I'd like to rope you in over here. You know, of course, we heard what Brindaji said over there. She is not of the belief that all the outlets should be shut, but the fact of the matter is that every time, or you know, when you see a cafe or an outlet that is so popular be marred with controversy like so, where worms are being found in food, there is of course a trust deficit that then comes over there. Are you then of the same perspective that the outlet should not be shut in order to do a thorough check?
I think more than the outlet not being shut, I think it's a wake-up call for other outlets which have high footfall. You know, Rameshwaram Café is just an example. I'm sure there are so many other cafes which need to really wake up and smell the coffee. We need to really look at our food safety standards first. When I'm saying, what is the kind of audit? What are the kind of food inspectors we have? Are they mentioning dates there? Are they mentioning time periods? You know, especially when you go to a place like an airport, I think it's very important for the food to be fresh and hot. And if that is not there in terms of the audit is not happening, I think there's a real problem here. The second thing is, you know, in today's day and age, everybody has got a mobile phone. Everybody takes videos. You know, information is right there in front of us. I think what's very important is for us not to jump into facts and wait for you know, things to emerge as they would. You know, because there's a lot of information which is there from both the sides, and we really don't know who's right, who's wrong. But if you have a case here where both the consumer and the business don't trust each other, it's not good for business as a whole. And then you see that there is a gap here. If there is a gap in the product, if there is a gap in the business needs to, you know, take care of that leak, which means food audit. We need to have food inspectors. We need to have audits which happen not just for airports, but also for other places, other cafes, other restaurants across India, to check whether everything is going on in the right manner. Because this is something which is non-negotiable. This is something which is very important. And this is just, we're not just talking about a worm here. This could, this could be happening in other places too. May not have been aware of it. The fact that, you know, somebody's brought this out, this has been going on for the last few months, speaks for itself. So I think what's really important is, you know, having, you know, standards set in place in terms of food safety standards, also having food inspectors who know what the job is, and there should be credibility in it. And I think the most important thing is putting a timeline in place for this. Because we've always noticed whenever, you know, restaurants face an issue like this, where somebody comes in, they try to blame it on competition, they try to blame it on, you know, somebody charging them extra money or because they became too popular. But the point of the matter here is, what about the end consumer, which is people like you and me, who are going to the you know, airport, who want to grab a quick bite before you rush off? I think that's important. We need to eat without even thinking that whether this food is right or wrong. where is the trust? There is a trust deficit right now, and for the trust deficit to evaporate, I think it's very important that strict quality checks happen. There is a quality audit which happens. There is a food inspection which happens, and it should happen on a war footing in an airport which is of the standard of Bangalore, where we all talk about Bangalore airport and how beautiful it looks. I think it's very important for them to start doing something about it, rather than just get taken in by the glamour and the beauty of Bangalore, because there is so much more to it. At the end of the day, people are coming in there, people are catching flights, there are transit flights, there are flights which take you to different parts of India. What's important is these restaurants or these points are, they are managed well, and the food is fresh and everything works in your favor. It's very important for the end consumer at the end of the day.
Absolutely. Dr. Garg, I'm going to leave the last word to you, and the question that I want to pose forward is, in a hypothetical scenario, if it's proven that a specific cafe has framed a customer, what kind of actions can then be taken?
See, first of all, I beg to differ with my learned friends over here when they say that we need not shut down the cafe. I do agree that this incident has happened 4 months back, but when we press responsibility on the food inspectors, why should there not be some accountability placed on these cafes who are charging a premium, so to say, for something that may cost as low as 20 rupees and they're selling it for 200, and then they're giving an extra topping of worms in it? Why should, when this matter comes to light, when it has come in the social media, it has come out in the open, why should these cafes not be shut? Whether they are 1, 2 or 6, they come under the same management. They are carrying the name, they are reaping a premium because they are who they are. They are Rameshwaram Café or whatever they are, they're charging a premium for that name. So I think all must be held accountable for it. And once it does come to light that they have, added insult to injury, having served contaminated food that is unsafe for consumption, and they go ahead and then they place this terrible counter complaint against the consumer whose life they put in danger, then their certifications should be cancelled. There needs to be an example set. And if that example is not set today, then we are keeping the line open for everybody tomorrow to, get into a situation where they do chori and then they do sina zori, as they say. So we cannot just place so much of power in their hands that they start levying counter complaints owing to their strong status. And tomorrow, this is more or less what has started happening in the aeroplanes, where the passengers have started misusing the courtesy that was granted to them by the air hostesses, and they started misusing that power they had. Now we have people that are on the no-flyer list because of their conduct. Why should we not have a no-flyer list for the cafes as well? They're serving non-consumable, unconsumable food, contaminated food, and then on top of that, they have the audacity to file a false complaint against their customer. What happened to customer is God. So they need to be held accountable for their conduct.
Right, absolutely. With that, I'd like to thank Dr. Swati Jindal Garg, Ms. Brinda Adige and Mr. Shekhar Vijan for joining us to take this very, very important debate forward. We take a short break.